Hello everyone, Darkside Phil here. I'm currently around 5 and 6 hours into the new release Silent Hill F. And I'm going to be honest with all of you. When I was getting the news that this game was coming out, I got hyped. Why? Because we haven't had a new Silent Hill game since Silent Hill Downpour back in 2012. 13 years is a long time to wait for a brand new Silent Hill. In the meantime, I played all of the classics. I replayed some of them. I recently played Silent Hill 2 Remake last year. Absolutely amazing game. My pick for Game of the Year. And so, when Silent Hill F was being promoted and advertised, and I said, I'm going to give it a fair shot. I'm going to take it with a grain of salt that it's going to be in Japan. These devs hopefully know what they're doing, and this game will be great. And then after that, I basically stopped following along. Why? I didn't really want to be spoiled. I wanted to just be pleasantly surprised when I played the game. I had it in my schedule. I even bought the digital deluxe version of the game to play it earlier on in the week so that we could get a head start and actually get a good chunk into the game before other releases hit later on. And all along, I kept hearing good things about Silent Hill F. The reviewers seemed to say, oh my goodness, it's a great modern Silent Hill. It might even be better than some of the classics. And I was like, wow, high praise from games media. And for a survival horror game too, that's weird. But at the same time, maybe it's a good sign. And so, being 5 to 6 hours into Silent Hill F right now, all right, I'm able to share with you my early opinions about the game. And my opinion is thus. Silent Hill F sucks. I'm serious. It's actually not that good at all. I don't know what game this games media has been playing. Maybe they just don't like classic survival horror, or they don't know what makes a game a good survival horror game. Silent Hill F does not have any of the components of it. Allow me to explain. A good survival horror game needs 3 elements. One is a good atmosphere and story. Something supernatural, something interesting going on. Maybe it's body horror, maybe it's mutations, zombies, monsters, ghosts. Who cares? As long as it's something that's kind of weird and keeps you gripping and interesting and asking, what's going on? What's going to happen next? The second component is good combat. And when I say good combat, with survival horror, typically there's one constant element, the element of survival. That's why it's called survival horror. So, element of, I don't have enough resources. I need to micromanage my inventory. I need to make sure I don't overuse ammo or resources in combat. I need to make sure I don't pump too many health items out. I need to basically ration everything I do because you never know what challenge is around the next corner. And you don't know how hard the challenges are going to be. And then the third component is puzzles. Most survival horror games that are successful and good have great puzzles in them. And that's the third interesting element. Find the key that opens this door that leads you to the next challenge. Do a little mini game. Oops, you messed up the mini game. Now you die. Now you got to do it over from the start. Stuff like that, right? All that stuff has always been present in survival horror games. Silent Hill F has all 3 components, and one of them is good. The atmosphere and the story have a horror element. It's interesting. It's gripping. 6 hours in, that's the one part of the game I'm very interested in. However, both the combat and the puzzles stink. Allow me to explain why. The combat is completely transformed and changed from previous Silent Hills. There is no ammo, no guns. All you do is pick up melee weapons and swing away. That's it. Now, there's some other things to it. There's 3 meters, a health meter, a sanity meter, a stamina meter. You can charge up an attack and release it for a supercharge that stuns an enemy, and then you can do a combo to finish. You could charge up a heavy attack and hit an enemy and try to finish them. You could just mash the dodge button, which is probably what most people will do playing this game, and you can either dodge an enemy attack, or if you time it perfectly, the game slows down a little bit, and then you can either escape or you can wail on the enemy. And then there's even a counterattack parry where you can charge a button that, again, uses this sanity meter, and then you can see when the enemy's going to attack and, interrupt with a counterattack, and now they get stunned and you can do a combo. Now, I want you to just think about everything I just described. Does any of that sound like Silent Hill or any survival horror game ever? It sounds like an action game. It almost sounds like an action RPG hybrid game. That's all the combat in Silent Hill F. Now, herein lies the problem. It's not engaging, it's not fun, it's just either boring or unnecessary. I've been playing 6 hours, And I found that 9 times out of 10, literally just running by and mashing the dodge button on every single enemy is more effective than engaging any enemy. There's almost never a reason to fight an enemy. Even if they get a cheap hit on you, you can easily still run away, and the game gives you tons of items, so you can always be healing or whatever. In fact, I'm constantly having issues having too many items in my inventory, so I basically have to dump items to pick up others, okay? Now, the game acts like an RPG. There's charms you can equip for the combat. Things like have more health, have more stamina. You don't really need any of it, to be frank. And you can even upgrade, again, through an RPG-like system to equip more of these charms and be even more powerful. So here's the deal. I'm playing the game on the default settings. The default settings are story level difficulty for combat, hard difficulty for puzzles. I'll be honest, I think that's too easy. I think that it should have been hard difficulty for both, because when I engage the enemies, it's almost never challenging. I've only died once ever. It's because I wasn't even trying or paying attention. And at this point, I feel like the combat is an afterthought. Now, you might say, well, it's your fault because you picked story. Well, that was the default setting in the game, and I always play on default. However, my viewers have told me they're playing on hard, and guess what? Here's what hard changes. The enemies hit for more damage, and you take more hits to kill the enemies. That's it. All the enemies are in the same spots. It's not more. Everything else is identical. The only difference is what I just described. Also, there's one other difference. When you go to a save spot, you restore all of your meters, I guess, on the story difficulty. When you're on the harder difficulty, you do not restore your sanity meter. But all that means is you can't do the special charge attack and you can't do the counter attack. But you can still dodge, you can still mash, you can still run. There's been entire enemy rooms I skipped. The only time you're actually committed to fighting an enemy is actually if it's blocking a door or if you're fighting a boss. Everything else is skippable. The combat is insanely boring, repetitive, not memorable, and a waste of your time. They could have done anything else. They could have emulated any other survival horror game, and it would have been better than the combat that they put into this game. Now, here's the other problem. The puzzles. I'm playing the puzzles on hard difficulty. And some of the puzzles, admittedly, were a little tricky, but today, the straw broke the camel's back, and we're only 6 hours in. Today, the game gave me 2 puzzles, and I know this might be minor spoiler alert, but I need to explain to you these 2 puzzles and why they're so bad for you to understand why the puzzles of this game suck. One puzzle required you to know what the actual blossom, flower, and tree of the Sakura cherry plant looked like. Now, I generally know what it looks like because I've seen art, but I don't live in Japan. I've never seen a Sakura cherry tree in person. I don't know what the tree itself looks like. I know what the blossom looks like, maybe open, but I don't know necessarily what a branch would look like, you know. Oh, you just need to know, because there's a puzzle box. You have to pick 3 of them, and if you pick wrong, the game says you're wrong, but doesn't say which ones you got right or wrong, so it's literally you picking out of a combination of, I think, 12 to 13 different choices, and you have to get the right 3 or you fail, and you don't even know you have to pick 3. So you could literally sit there for 7 hours guessing and never know until you open up the internet and search Sakura cherry blossom tree, and then your answer is right there. Does that sound like a fun puzzle for a video game? Here's another one, and this will be the last one I spoil, I promise. I'm not kidding you. There's a combination lock on a locker. This is for the story. You need to open this to progress in the story. And it says, spell the word bus with numbers. How do you spell the word bus with numbers? Is there a codex? Is there a Da Vinci Code, right, thing that you decode it with and you know that the numbers correspond to letters? No. What numbers look like the letters B, U, and S? What? What kind of puzzle is that? By the way, name one number that looks like the letter U. I'm waiting. Would you like the solution? Spoiler, the number 6. Do you see my point? The puzzles are actually terrible. Now, I just played a Silent Hill game a year ago that was my game of the year, and it had great puzzles. What was the problem with Konami when they made this game? They didn't consult anyone who knew how to make puzzles. Gee, maybe the puzzle should be specific to the game or something to do with the game or even just something you can figure out if you're smart or you're, not. You need to know what the Sakura cherry blossom tree looks like. Go research it online. You need to guess what letter we think corresponds to a number, even though it looks nothing like it, just because we're stupid and this is our puzzle. Get the hell out of here. Are you insane? So the puzzles suck. The combat sucks. What is good is the story. It's gripping, it's interesting, and that's why I want to keep playing it. But guys, 6 hours in, it's rough. My audience can't even stand it. My audience is bored to tears because, again, most of it's wandering around, avoiding or fighting these boring, repetitive enemies or doing these annoying puzzles. The story is decent, but there's not enough of it. I even said to my audience, this game would have been better if they took this element out of it. Take the controller, put it down, just make this a movie or a TV series, and it's great. I would watch this as a TV show, a Japanese TV show with these teens interacting and trying to survive and all the supernatural stuff going on. Instead, I got to kill a million enemies by mashing like an idiot, or I just got to run by them like an idiot. And then I got to solve awful puzzles that aren't fun, and you got to look up the solutions because the game devs were morons and didn't put anything in there that, takes intelligence. It's just, you have to just know. So, yeah, it's bad. I'm shocked. I thought this game was going to be one of my Game of the Year contenders. It's actually pretty bad. I would hope that my opinion will change, but I don't know. Unless they completely redesign the game halfway through, I don't see how it's going to be any better. I just see it being more of the same. And again, I am going to play through it because I want to see the story, but for me, that's it. So Silent Hill F, huge disappointment. It actually legit sucks. I don't know what game these people are playing and what they're smoking. It's nowhere near as good as Silent Hill 2 Remake last year. It's not even as good as the other survival horror game out right now, Chronos. Guess who made Chronos? Bloober Team. Guess what game Bloober Team made? Silent Hill 2 Remake. Go play Chronos if you want classic survival horror with huge challenge and a good story. Silent Hill F ain't it. That's all I got to say, folks. I hope that made sense and that you enjoyed it. See you soon.